The program began with a song from the Walter Payton College Prep High School's Sounds of Sweetness. They invited everybody to come go with them. Next came the Westinghouse College Prep Color Guard for the posting of the colors. I was honored to welcome everybody and introduce the speakers.
April was first declared Child Abuse Prevention Month back in 1983 by a presidential proclamation. It has become a time to acknowledge parents and community for their efforts in trying to prevent child abuse. This month, our governor, Bruce Rauner, has proclaimed April Child Abuse Prevention Month here in the state of Illinois.
And great childhoods make for successful and productive members of our community. And great childhoods depend on us, all of us, to provide strong communities and to support healthy families. We all have a role to play. We all can help. So our Prevention Month theme this year is simply, how will you help?
At the young age of 15, I entered into the foster care system with many preconceived ideas of what DCFS is and means. I grew to understand that DCFS is a support system, and their intentions are to provide assistance for at-risk youth and children in families like mine to help intercept child abuse and neglect.
But it was George H. Sheldon, acting director of DCFS, who delivered the most sobering statistical analysis.
You know, I want to pay tribute to the employees of the Department of Children and Families and of our partner agencies, those who work tirelessly every day to protect children. And not just to keep children safe, but that so they can become like Ryan and they can live full and productive lives. Because that's got to be our goal. I want us all to agree that the number one goal for this agency is to abolish its reason to exist. We ought to every day be trying to work ourselves out of a job by preventing child abuse and neglect in the first place. You know, there are those who would say that child abuse and neglect in the United States is a hidden epidemic. And let me give you a little statistics. Every day in the United States, every day we lose between 4 and 7 children to abuse. And across the country, a report of child abuse occurs every 10 seconds. In Illinois, the numbers are equally sobering. On an average, we lose a child to abuse and neglect every 3 days. DCFS receives and acts upon a report of child abuse or neglect every 5 minutes. Incidents of child abuse are increasing in the last several years. It may be because more people are aware and more people are willing to report, but also we know that during tough economic times, our work becomes even more critical. And across this state and across this country, families are struggling every day to keep food on the table, to educate their children, to keep a job. The more I learn about child abuse, the more I'm convinced it's ultimately about mental health, substance abuse, and economic stress. So if we can deal with some of those root causes of abuse, we will have truly made a difference. We know that with the right interventions, with the right support, we and our public and private partners can help children and families who are at risk stay out of the system. And we also know that 75% of the kids who are brought into care are brought into care not because of abuse, but because of neglect. So I think we also have to fundamentally ask ourselves the question, to what extent have we made poverty a reason to bring children into care? So why not deal with the underlying causes, the poverty in the first place? I heard just this weekend a gentleman from New York who was speaking about that issue, and he said that they had a family in New York who asked for housing 57 times, and we offered them therapy, when in reality they needed a place to live. So all of us, every child welfare agency, every worker, every parent, every person has a role to play. And that's why the President and Governor Rana recognize April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's a chance for us to step back and ask our neighbors, our friends, our fellow residents, what will you do to help? And I would point out, I met with about 50 young people who were in foster care. And I asked them, if you were in my position and you could do anything to change the system, what would you do? And they came up with a lot of ideas and suggestions. And one little boy articulated, I think, the best when he said, stop calling us foster kids. We're just kids. And the more we learn to begin to treat children in care like normal children and allowing them to do normal things, the greater outcomes we'll have when they ultimately age out, whether that's at 18 or 21 or whenever, if we really prepare them for life. So what can you do to help? What can you do to really prevent child abuse and neglect in the first place? You don't have to be wealthy, and frankly, you don't have to be an expert to help kids in need. All you have to do is be willing to help. Purchase some school supplies for your local school. Offer to tutor a child after school. Offer to mentor a child so they have an adult figure to look up to. Sign up to coach Little League. Help a family under stress. Offer to babysit or help with the chores. Become a court-appointed advocate or become a foster parent. But also, if you see something, say something. Be willing to recognize abuse and neglect when you see it and report it. Not every call to our hotline is going to result in an investigation. Not every call is going to result in a child coming into care. But maybe it can result in bringing the kind of services and the kind of attention that a family desperately needs. So this agency cannot help a child we don't know about. So we need you to be the eyes of these children. So throughout April, the department and our partners will be participating in more Child Abuse and Prevention Month events. And we hope that you'll join in that fight by talking to your neighbors, talking to your relatives. Raise consciousness about the issue of neglect and abuse.